Good evening, everyone. I hope you are enjoying the second day of the forum and the weather as well. I am excited to start our panel talks about the century of anime and gaming industry. Today, we have three great leaders of those industry. First, we have Dr. Essam Bukhary, the CEO of Manga Productions, and Mr. Yves Bléhaut, the Senior Vice President of Strategic Partnership at Microids, and Mr. Shuzo Shiota, the President and Executive Producer of Polygon Pictures. It is great to have you all. Let's start with you, Dr. Essam. Dr. Essam, about 2 days ago, Manga Productions announced the launch of the 3 new games with the collaboration with Microids. Can you tell us more about this experience?
Sure. So thank you very much. When we look at Grandizer, I think many audiences here remember their childhood. Grandizer is not an anime character, it's a culture. When I studied in Japan, I remember visiting the laboratories of robotics, and I saw the professors there having the action figures of Grandizer and Messengers and other characters. So what we are talking about here is inspiration. And for us at Manga Productions, the subsidiary of Mohammed bin Salman Foundation, our mission is to inspire the heroes of tomorrow. So when we talk about anime, when we talk about games, manga, it's not something for children, no. It's more of shaping the future of those generations. It's a great influential media, soft power, and huge industry. In Saudi Arabia, nowadays, we have 13 million viewers of anime every year. 23.5 million lovers of games, only in Saudi Arabia. And the size of the market of video games in Saudi Arabia nowadays is $1 billion. This market in 2030 is expected to grow to $13.5 billion for games and esports. We had been consuming content, but nowadays we are producing those contents and exporting them to the globe. Manga Productions, in collaboration with the Microids, we are very glad of publishing 3 games. That makes Manga Production the first Saudi company that publish games with the rating of AAA. And that's the result of our huge investments in our talents. Through the years, we sent our young talents to studios in Japan, in Europe, in the US. Through internship with Misk programs, now we build them and we can compete globally with them. And we believe that the future is very bright for our country, for Saudi Arabia.
Thank you, Dr. Essam. It is interesting to see through the experience. Now, Mr. Yves, what is special about the Middle East and North Africa region that encouraged Microids to go with a publisher such as Manga Production? Please walk us through your goals of this strategic partnership.
Well, first, good evening, everyone, and thank you to the Misk Foundation to invite me for this great forum. It's an amazing place and an amazing experience for me. When you try to tap into a market, what's really important is not the money, it's not the geography, it's the product. If you don't have the product, you can have the best marketing team in the world, you cannot do anything. And luckily enough, when I got a call from the amazing people at Manga Productions say, well, we are producing an animation that is called Grandizer. Oh, by the way, you guys are doing the game Grandizer, which we didn't have, to be very honest. As a French company, didn't have any hint that it was so successful in your region, in your country. Then we started to talk, And little by little, first we did this publishing and distribution deal with a lot of investment from people from Manga Production, localization, a lot of interaction with our teams, and it's been a great experience. And suddenly we realized that we have much more synergies than originally thought. It was not a one-shot thing. From a synergy, which is games, animation also, because I'm lucky enough to belong to a group that also does animation, does manga, does publish a lot of books. It become then from synergies, you build strategy, and that's exactly what Dr. Essam has pointed out earlier. So we're building a strong strategy in your region, in your country, and for us, Manga Production is the key contact company for us to bring our content to you, and we have a lot of family, kids, adventure content that I think are matching the values of your country. And for us, it's very important to be able to share this with you and to, in addition, be able to move forward and find other synergies.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Yves. What a valuable goal for Microids. Wish you all the best. Moving to Mr. Shiota. As we know, the Japanese anime delves deep into character, backstories, and emotion as well. So how this depth of narrative translated into the game world?
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to copy your example and thank you, the organizers, Misk Foundation, for inviting me to be on this prestigious stage. I've been to a lot of conferences, I've given a lot of talks, 5 continents, but this is a spectacle that I've never seen from stage. So it's going to be forever ingrained in my brain. So I'm very happy to be here. Great perception. I think, we need to understand each medium and its strength. Japanese anime, I actually just had a dinner with Makoto Tezuka, who's actually the son of Osamu Tezuka, who's considered the father of Japanese manga and animation and Astro Boy and all that kind of stuff. And he said that, Japanese anime is a product of his father, which started with the manga. So our grammar is rooted in the manga. And so manga and anime is one and all. And what manga and anime does really well is to, as you say, define the story and define the characters and define the world. In any IP, stories of the utmost importance. However, for the IP to become a franchise, story can be a one-off. It can be one of the biggest box office, but it may not be a franchise if the consumers do not fall in love with the characters and thereby the world that surrounds these characters. And so manga, Dragon Ball, for instance, it's been around for 40 years. They've started as a manga. It has 42 individual volumes of manga, and then followed by anime. It's like 769 episodes. But now, this is a number in 2019, for instance, with Dragon Ball Super. It's just in 2019 alone, it amassed $1.7 billion worth of revenue, of which 60% is due to games. And what games does really well is dwell in the world because of the immersive nature. It allows people who understand the story and the characters to immerse itself in the world and be one of the characters, and dwell in it for a long time. And so the whole progression from the original story to hyping up the characters in the world and creating a game to exploit that, that is the exact strength of each of these mediums, and try to create an IP that utilizes each of the strengths is, I think, the key.
Great, amazing. Mr. Shiota, thank you for your input and expertise. So back to you, Dr. Essam. As you mentioned before, Manga Productions has announced the 3 games as a publisher. So what about Manga Production, original products, and IPs?
In 2017, yes, it was my first time to have the pleasure to participate in Miss Global Forum. That time on the stage, Manga Productions, we did not have even one product in the market. The number of Manga Productions employees was only 4. I remember having that session with the leaders in anime and games. I said one sentence: In Japan, I learned that the best way for the student to show their loyalty to their masters is to exceed them. So I made a promise. Manga Productions and Saudi talents will compete and exceed the global players. So after 6 years, did we make it?
Yes.
Let me talk to you about the Journey movie. The Journey movie now is available in 52 global platforms. It won the Best Experimental Movie Award from Septimus in Netherlands for the first time for all Arab movies. The Journey movie rating was higher than other movies in the same time from Pixar, from Disney, from Marvel, from Japanese anime. It was the first Saudi and Arab IP in Bilibili, the Chinese platform, with 267 million users. It had its merchandise. It's there in more than 20 platforms in Japan. It's available in 6 languages. And that's only the beginning. Look at Asatir. Asatir, our animation series, we had 100 million views. And the second series will come next year. And Neom will be the sponsor of the second series. So it will be the first time for Neom to be illustrated in artistic work with Manga Productions. Yesterday, we celebrated the announcement of our new manga IP, Mercury Girl. And we had Bissa manga, which is having higher rating than Japanese manga on Manga Arabia platform. We have our video games, which has the top 10 downloads in Asia, in Europe, in Middle East. And next year, we are publishing our own mobile game based on Asatir. And I'm very proud also to talk about Oja project, which is the Saudi history project. Maybe in the foundation day, you saw the illustration of Imam Muhammad bin Saud, rahimahullah. That art was done by Sarah Al-Hazmi, an artist in Manga Productions, with collaboration with King Abdulaziz Foundation Dara. For the first time, we are drawing our historical characters based on historical facts and DNA. Because in the past, our young generations, when they read about the heroes of Saudi history, they were only text. Now we are visualizing our history, delivering it in manga, in anime, to inspire the future generations about our great history and about our great heroes. So this is only the beginning, and I'm very proud to say that wasn't to be there without the great support and belief and vision from our inspirational leader, Prince Mohammed bin Salman, who always inspires us and tells us that the sky is our limit.
Thank you, Dr. Essam. You are always encourage us in manga to inspiring the heroes of tomorrow. So, Mr. Yves, since Microids is the producer of the Grandizer game, what are the challenges and the rewards of adapting anime into game and vice versa?
Well, first, the first challenge that we faced was to convince the IP holder that Grandizer deserved the game. And sometimes it took us 3 years to convince our friend Gonagai in the dynamic planning in Japan to accept that we could do a game. So it's been a long process of explaining the interest, because before that, there was no Grandizer game, or at least official ones. So that's the first thing. And second, of course, why doing a game? It's because the animation, the anime, was so powerful in terms of storytelling about all the things we wanted to do in the game, that it was kind of an obvious thing to do on our end. And then talking about adaptation, The beauty of Grandizer is that it carries values that are pretty much worldwide. So there was no real adaptation per se, except of course localization, and there was no redesign per se of the product when it comes to MENA or other territories. Having said that, I can give you, just for the record, 2 examples of territories where sometimes it's a little tricky to publish a title. I'll take Germany. Did you know that in Germany, the blood is green? Did you know that? No, in fact, it's red, of course. But if you want to publish a title where there is blood in Germany, you have to color the blood in green. That's something that is crazy. The other example I have, I don't know if you know a game that is not ours, so I can talk about it freely without trying to sell something, is Crash Bandicoot. If you heard about this franchise, if you look at the character, you will realize that worldwide, except Japan, the character has 4 fingers. In Japan, when they wanted to launch the game, they got a big backlash from the audience saying, there's something wrong. We don't understand why Crash has only 4 fingers. So there was a redesign of the game of the character with 5 fingers. So I invite you to go on the internet, check the 2 pictures of Crash in Japan and Crash in the US or in Saudi Arabia, and you realize that it needed to be adapted. And believe me, it was at that time, I met the people who did the localization, and it's more than localization, it's redesigning. It took them almost 2 years to figure it out and to redo everything. So, to your point, yes, sometimes you have to adapt yourself, but it is part of our role and mission to adapt our game to the target audience we want to reach, and to respect the audience and to respect the country who has different values than we have in other countries.
Thank you. So that leads us for the second question.
You didn't know the story about the Crash?
I didn't know about the Crash Bandicoot. The 4-finger issue is always an issue. Not too much anymore, but used to be.
It used to be?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sorry about it.
You know why? You know why it is?
No.
It's a Yakuza thing.
Oh, it's a Yakuza, of course.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Mr. Shiota, what does the future hold for collaboration between the anime and the gaming sector?
Yeah, and I like that you use the word collaboration in that question, because many times, because of the technology that is available, there are people who start to say convergence. I don't believe in convergence. There's been a forever talk of, say, using technology to have interactive storytelling and having multiple endings and whatnot. The opportunities have been there, but it never really stuck, because it's never really been entertaining. And so I believe that collaboration is the key, understanding each medium's strength and playing on that strength. And I think it's more and more important now because of the wealth of content that's available, especially after the streamers have come in. And so and especially currently, with the predominant medium, which is smartphone, and people are enjoying shorter and shorter content. The attention span is getting short. And so in that world, the window of time we have to have the audience be attracted by new IPs is quite short. So the future and opportunity lies in that, okay, we understand the strength of each of the medium. Manga and anime is very strong in creating the story, the characters, and defining the world. Games are great in immersing oneself in the world itself. But but it used to be that A, B, and C within a span of, say, 40 years. We don't have 40 years anymore. And so how do we do that quickly? So me, especially because I'm running a computer graphics animation company, my opportunity, I feel, lies in the fact that we are using digital assets. That is something shareable. I mean, we're very good in linear storytelling. We're not really good in interactive storytelling, but there are game makers who are really good at interactive storytelling. But now, because of the proliferation of game engines and the strength of game engines, there's finally come a time where we can actually share digital assets, so that we can create the world according to the manga and anime in games in relatively the same parallel time. And I think there lies the opportunity and the challenge, but I think we need to face that given the amount of content that's going out there and the attention span of the audiences that we are allotted.
Thank you so much. So jumping to the last question. What are your views regarding the big now challenging around the synergy between the anime and gaming industry? With you, Dr. Essam, first.
Well, my message to young generations. Tomorrow is a mystery. Yesterday is a history. Today is a gift. Today is a gift, and that's why they call it present.
Nice.
The big now is a great asset for everyone. Your time is your most valuable asset. Consume it wisely. Invest in your future. Always remember, be proactive. Do not be reactive. When you face the challenges, do not wait for them. Expect them and lead the challenge. Take the initiative. You will face a lot of problems, challenges, troubles, enemies. But never ever give up. Enjoy it.
Thank you, Dr. Essam.
Your pains will be your strength, and you'll be proud of them. Be the hero of your story, and be that arrow which needs a pullback to go stronger and to go faster toward its goal, towards the future.
What an amazing answer, Dr. Essam. Thank you. So, Mr. Yves?
Yes.
Yes. So, what are
same question?
Yeah. So, this is the last question. What are your views regarding the big now challenges around the century between anime and gaming industry?
Well, first, I would say it's always difficult to speak after Dr. Essam. Thank you very much. Next time, I'll sit next to you. Because I think he said it all. I'm going to be a bit more down to earth regarding our industry. And I think my esteemed colleague here shared his view about how to develop games and animation. I would say if you are a fan of graphic design, you're a fan of storytelling, and you hesitate, I'm going to be a little provocative here, hesitate between setting up a video game company or an animation company, build a video game company first. Why? Because at the end of the day, all the cutscenes, all the assets that we build in a video game can be used in animation, which at some point is not exactly the case today from animation to video games. So we have this French saying that who can do more can do less. If you do video game, naturally, mechanically, you're going to build content that can be used at the same time in the animation. So it's a bit technical, but I think it's important to understand. And from there, you can create two groups, developers that will work on the video game, and at the same time, developers that will work on the anime, using some tools. You have companies like, again, for people who are a bit familiar with the industry, like for Unity, Unreal, or even in-house software developers that can build some very nice bridges between the two mediums. Then from there, you can build your company. So I would say, if you want to create to shape the future, as Dr. Essam say, I would definitely vote for a video game, although we need talent. I heard also what people say during the forum yesterday at the introduction. Talent is key, so you need the talent, you need the product, and from there, then you have an alchemy. We love cooking in France. I know that you cook also a lot in your country. I've enjoyed it lately. So the cooking is always an alchemy, and hopefully you can create and have a great company in a few years or a few months, depending on the product you do. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So, Mr. Shiota, any comment regarding the Big Now challenges?
My answer is going to be super boring. But I mean, I think it's essentially about, I mean, to your question about, you know, further synergy between, I'd say, manga, anime, and games, right? And I mean, I think the biggest challenge is actually what us humans all go through in any other industry or any situation in life is to basically to listen to each other and understand each other. So yes, manga, anime, games are all entertainment, and the why is the same, especially if you're going to dealing with the same IP. However, the how is immensely different, and it's these little details that we kind of cling on to. And even though, like for instance, we're a CG animation company, we use digital assets, we use pretty much the same tool sets as a games company, our behaviors and our protocols and our lingo is so different. And so whenever we try to work together, we have to kind of exchange our dictionary. You know, you have to understand that animation, well, imagery, you know, films. I mean, it's been around for 100-something years. It's all about it's a medium to how to lie to our audience, and so our common thing is about frames. We act upon frames, whereas like in games, there is no concept of frames. You have to create a world. You cannot lie as much as we do, and so you know, just the notion of yes, we're trying to talk about the same characters, the same story, same world, but because of our how is so different, we really need to be understanding each other, to listen to each other, so that we can actually collaborate. And again, like I say, that is the biggest challenge because we're humans. You know, we stick on to our own thing.
Thank you so much. So thank you all for such a great panel. Please join me for an applaud for our great panelists.